Welcome to the Waimea Group here in sunny Nelson. We're here to give you an overview and training of our Allvac hydro excavator that's used for the vacuuming of liquids, semi-liquids, sludges and hydro excavation.
This unit has a 7,000 litre spoil tank. It also has a 2,000 litre fresh filtered water tank for hydro excavation and for washdown. In the cab here there is an operator's manual. This must remain within the cab at all times. This is for operational references. It also outlines the maintenance schedules which need to be carried out and the identification of parts and the required PPEs. There's also a daily check card which also has information on customer service contacts for any technical assistance. This unit has scales which shows the amount of spoil in the tank. It also has a handbrake alarm. When the doors are open and the handbrake is released, an alarm will sound. We also have a switch here which will switch on your front and rear flashes and a roof beacon. This can be activated without the activation of a PTO switch. PTO activation, that will switch on all beacons around the unit. We have a travel height decal here which shows your travelling height with your boom in the stowed position. We have a remote control unit here which is used for boom operation and hydro excavation. This comes with a spare battery and a battery charger. It also comes, in the event of battery failure, a connection lead which connects your remote to your receiver outside. Two places your remote should be, and that's in the cab when not in use and around the person when in operation.
I'm going to discuss here the blower vacuum pack. That is a American-made tri-load blower that will reach vacuum of 90% or negative 0.9 bar. The regular cleaning of this final filter is a very important aspect of it, as it's the last part of the filtration before the air enters the vacuum pump. We need to be cleaning this daily, and we'll get an indication if from these gauges here showing any indiscrepancy between the vacuum before the filter and the vacuum after the filter. If there's any discrepancy there, that indicates that we're getting a blocked filter. So we need to be undoing, draining the drain here to make sure we haven't got any liquids in there. And then we're going to be undoing these three wing nuts, and then inside we have a nut that we'll undo, and we're going to take out the mesh filter. We can clean the mesh filter with the water blaster on site, so we need to give that a good clean and then shake it dry, making sure when we put it back in that there's no compromise, so that we get that seating properly on the rubber ring on the other side, doing the nut back up, and then doing these up tight so that they're only hand tight. Also we have flushing fluid here which is standard diesel. What we're going to do on a weekly basis is we're going to start the vacuum pump, we're going to put it on the four-way valve up here, we're going to push it to vacuum. So here we have a four-way valve that is in neutral, it goes to vacuum, and it also goes to pressure, as this unit is unique and does pressurize as well. So to give it a fluid flush, we're going to put it onto vacuum, and then we're going to open the tap here for 2 seconds. So it's 1, 2, and then turn off. And what that does is it lubricates and cleans the vacuum pump, the tri-load blower, and that's all that's required. Once we're finished, we then put the four-way valve back into neutral and we turn the vacuum pump off. We've also got a temperature gauge up here which reads in Fahrenheit. It will generally, the pump will run between 240 and 260 degrees Fahrenheit. If any point in time it does get to 280, the system will shut down. If the system shuts down, we need to let it cool to the point where it'll restart, and then we'll run fresh air through the system and to let it cool and then continue the operation. So we're just going to zip around the other side of the blower pack here and explain the operations on this side. We have the hydraulic oil tank sitting through here in the bottom here that has the level gauge and the temperature gauge. Generally the gauge will operate around 40 to 60 degree mark. If at any point it does get to 80 degrees, we've got cooling fans at the top there that have a temperature sensor that will shut the system down. At which point in time you'll just have to wait until the oil cools down to be able to restart. This may indicate that you've got something more sinister going on in the hydraulic department that's allowing blow off to heat the oil. We've also got two return filters coming down through here and the fill point here along with the breather.
Located here we have the high pressure water blaster. This is used in hydro excavation. Before use, the operators must be competent to use this piece of machinery. This can be set to 5,000 psi with a water flow of 21 litres per minute. This particular unit is set at 4,000 psi for high idle, 3,000 psi for low idle, and for wash down and normal clean up of the machine, you'd have that on PTO idle, or you'd remove the wand and just use the water hose. The hose and wand are located on the driver's side at the rear. Before stowing these, you must release all pressure. You have a 2,000 litre water tank. This is your fill point for your 2,000 litre water tank, and this must only be filled with fresh water. There's a water gauge located beside the fill point. Both handles at the bottom and the top need to be in the open position to get the correct reading of the level of water in there. You need to ensure you have enough water to do your hydro excavation. Never run your water tank empty. It will cause damage to your high pressure water pump. Here you have a water tank drain, and also this can be used for hand wash or burns. It is not drinking water. Underneath here is located a water filter which needs to be cleaned daily. Just removing any sediment which is inside the water filter.
So we've got our 7,000 litre spoil tank here, and at the front of the tank we've got our vacuum brake, and we've got our 3 pressure reliefs. Remembering that the uniqueness of this unit, we can pressurise the system. So they're set to 7 psi, and on a weekly basis we need to be checking to make sure that they're functioning correctly. So we would run the vacuum pump on pressure and take it to the high RPM to check that we don't get any over pressurising of 7 psi. We've got our overhead suction boom here that's fully radio controlled with a shut off vacuum valve at the top there, the 6-inch line here, and we reduced to 5-inch with the digging spike just to minimise blockages. We can suck with 6-inch with the 6-inch extensions as well. We have our primary shut-off at the top there. That's our primary source of stopping product from entering the vacuum line. It's a simple ball and cage whereby the ball comes up and connects with the rubber flange to stop the vacuum. When we're unloading the spoil tank, we need to check this every load to make sure we don't have any debris or anything around it that would stop that from functioning properly. So from our primary shut-off we come onto a cyclonic separator, which has 2 purposes. The first primary purpose is to spin the air so we get any moisture drop out into the cyclone. The second one is, does have another ball and cone in here. Should the primary not pick it up, it will catch it in the secondary chamber as well. This needs to be emptied every load, checked and made sure that it is empty, and on a weekly basis we need to clean that by putting our water blaster nozzle up there and giving it a hose out. Once a month we need to be opening the tops of both the primary and the cyclonic separator and checking the operation of the ball and cone and checking the seals in there also. So we're at the rear of the tank here with the rear hydraulic door. We have 4 over centre locking pins that have sensors on them with an audible warning to let you know that they're unlocked. We've got our 4 sight glasses to see where our load level is. This unit's got 3 valves at the back here. We have a 4-inch suction line that has an upstand inside the tank that can be used for all vacuuming. We have a 6-inch discharge and suction line here that goes directly into the bottom of the tank. And we also have our 4-inch discharge decant valve. This has got a pipe that goes up inside, slotted pipe inside the tank that allows us to decant the water off and leave the spoil in behind.
Located here we have the hoist controls and the rear door unlock and door opening controls. This is to remove the spoil that is in the tank when it is full. First of all, you have to make sure that your ground is nice and level before tipping, and that your tipping area is clear of obstacles and personnel. You then press in your hoist dead man switch, which is a safety valve here, and you would raise your hoist to 100 millimeters so the vacuum brake separates. This will release any vacuum or pressure which is in the tank for safe emptying. You would then unlock your doors. Make sure they're fully unlocked before you start to open your door. Once they're opened, and there will be an alarm sounding as they're opening, you can then continue to open your door. You fully open your door. When this is fully open, you can then raise your hoist. When you've got a load on your in your tank, you shouldn't raise your hoist more than 45 degrees. When your soil is basically emptied, you can fully raise this to complete upright. With the door now open, you would use your high pressure water blaster on low idle or no idle and completely wash the door seal, which is located on the back door, the sight level glasses, and you'd inspect and try and clean down your primary ball, ensuring that that is free from any debris. On completion of your spoil emptying and your cleanup of your rear door and seal, you now want to lower your hoist. To lower your hoist, activate your dead man button and lower your hoist button. When the hoist is fully lowered, you will then close your door. As soon as the door is fully closed, you will lock it, apply your locks. There's 4 over center locks, and you will hear 4 clicks of the locks when they're fully activated. We have the lower control panel. The lower control panel here has a remote or manual button. The remote button will be activated when using the boom and the remote control. On rear excavation, you will use the manual. You will switch to activate the PTO by holding the PTO button in this position, on position, for 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, a blue light will appear here. You have a low RPM idle. This will take it to the next idle level after PTO engagement. You have a high RPM level, which is a high idle for extreme excavation. Your vacuum pump switch is located here. Your pressure cleaner, high pressure cleaner switch is located here, and your work lights are above that. On the side of the panel you have one of the 3 emergency stop buttons. These are located at the front of the truck on the passenger side and the driver's side, and one on the rear panel here. On activation, they will cut the engine and also sound an alarm. To release, twist to release. Also, there is an hour meter. Moving on to boom operation. For boom operation, it must be done via the remote control. To use a remote control, initially you will again activate the PTO. The blue light will come on again here, and you will switch the switch up to remote. Now the lower panel cannot be used, everything is used on the remote control. The remote control, to activate it, you release the stop button, you press the on switch where the lights will be activated, and the receiver will show a signal saying that it is activated. The boom controls are as follows. You have rotation on your first lever, clockwise and counterclockwise. You have raise your boom up and down on your second lever, and on your third lever is boom extension and retraction. From the remote control you can also switch your vacuum pump on and off, and your vacuum valve located at the rear of your excavation boom on and off. You can also set your idle speeds from the remote control. The first selection is PTO engagement speed. The second selection is low idle, and the third selection is high idle. You have an engine start stop also, where you can stop the truck engine, and then when you're ready to start, continue excavation, you can restart. Your final switch here is your water blaster activation, so you can switch this one on to do high pressure excavation work. In the event of a battery failure, you have a connection lead which you can connect directly from the remote control. Plugging this side in here, screw this up. And the other side will go into the receiver. You can now use the remote exactly how you did before with the battery, when there is no battery or the battery is fully discharged.
Truck is running, and we're going to a 4-way valve, and because we're going to vacuum, we're going to put it into the vacuum. Remove our water blaster lance. We pull it out until we get between the 3 stops, which will lock it. And we have that set up, ready to go. I'll get my remote out of the cab of the truck. And I've already checked that we have a fully charged battery And I'm at the rear control panel now, and I'm going to switch the PTO on. So I'm holding that for 3 seconds until the blue light comes on. Because I'm going to use my remote, I'm going to flick that to remote setting, and that now means that we are ready to roll with our remote. So I'm going to check that the red button is off, and I'm going to push my start button, power button, and we see on the receiver that we have indication that we are receiving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just raise the boom, get that out of the bring that up, bring that around, drop that down so I can put my 5-inch reducing spike on, so it reduces any likelihood of blockages further up the line. You might think they're a bit tight. A safe distance away, we can extend our boom out as well to where we're wanting to dig. So we're set up, ready to go there. I'm now going to turn my vacuum pump on. And I'm going to turn the idle up to low idle. Now to high idle. Turn my vacuum on. And I'm going to turn my water blaster on. And I'm now safe to start. Once I'm finished excavating, I'm going to turn my water blaster off, and I'm going to release the pressure. That is now safe if we need to take the nozzle off. There the boom is parked. I do have the ability to also, if I'm waiting for other contractors, to be able to stop the engine. So now we're in a standby position where the PTO is still engaged, but the truck motor is not running. We get that audible warning when we're switched off, and when we will start it back up again, we're back with the PTO still engaged, and we're ready to engage all functions again. I'll switch the boom off now, the remote off, and we can then go to raise our hoist and empty our spoil. Putting the remote back in the cab. I'm checked that I'm on level ground and I'm clear at the back of any personnel or obstacles, and I'll come through and raise the boom, the hoist 100 mils to operate the vacuum brake. There we have it. So our tank is now atmospheric pressure, and I'm going to unlock the doors. We have an audible warning telling us that our doors are unlocked, and the audible warning will continue until the door is fully open. We're now going to continue with our hoist operation. Take 45 degrees, and the spoil will generally would have emptied out by there. To get the last part of it out, we then fully extend the hoist. Once we're clear that everything is emptied, before we shut down, we will operate our pressure cleaner, turning the remote away from remote onto manual, and we'll turn our pressure cleaner on, and we're going to wash the receiving edges, cleaning our sight glasses. We're also cleaning the back here, making sure that our rubber seal is clean. All the way around. And now we're ready to close the door. So we're going to lower the hoist. With our hoist on these Allvac units, we have pressure up and pressure down. So we have full hydraulic pressure to push the hoist up, and we have full hydraulic pressure to pull it back down. With the hoist coming down, and we're going to eye out to the suction hose in order to direct it into its shroud. We're going to have a final check here before we shut the rear door. We'll proceed to close the door. On the audible alarm will sound. Then we'll lock the doors, lock the overlocking pins, and the 4 clicks, and the alarm will stop. Stowing it into its holder with the safety latch around it. So we're secured now, ready for road travel. Just emptied our spoil tank. We're always going to check our cyclonic separator for any moisture or anything we may have picked up on the loading process. So we see that's all clear, and then we can cap it, and we're ready to go. And we're ready to proceed on the road. So we're just going to carry out our weekly pressure check to make sure that our pressure reliefs are operating at the correct PSI. So we've put our four-way valve into pressure and we'll run up our pressure check. So we remain on manual operation. We're on pressure, so we're going to put our PTO into gear. We're going to start our vacuum pump and we're going to put it onto high RPM, and we're going to watch this gauge here to make sure it sits around the 7 PSI mark, and you'll hear the vacuum relieving out the pressure reliefs at the front. So we'll put our pressure vacuum pump on. And that's our pressure check done. If we get a discrepancy and we go beyond 7, we need to be talking to our maintenance team or calling customer service at Waimea to get the pressure reliefs checked or adjusted. What we're going to do here is we're going to raise the hoist and put the safety prop in. This is in the case of any maintenance that needs to be carried out. So we're always going to do this with an empty tank. We never use the prop if we've got any product in the tank. So once we've got the hoist raised to the first stage, we're then going to reach in and engage the safety prop, which is in behind the hose tray here. Slots in behind the lugs there. Once the prop is in place, we bring it down so it's just gently sitting on it. That's what I have here. That way we can carry out any maintenance safely. And if anything, we have any emergency happen at any time, we'll just hit the emergency stop here. And it shuts the whole system down here.
On your weekly scheduled maintenance check of the final air filter, what you're going to do is you're going to initially see if there's any liquid inside the air filter. By turning this to the on position, any liquid will drain out of this hose here. You'll then place the four-way valve towards the vacuum just to clear the area, and you're going to undo these. Loosen these off, keeping your hand in the center just to hold on to the filter front here. Remove the top and place somewhere safe. This will also need to be cleaned out, so you give this a wipe to clean, and you'll inspect the rubber gasket here, making sure that's clean. And take an adjustable crescent or a 19mm spanner, remove this nut, the washer, this centralizes the filter, and you make sure the faces of this filter gasket is also clean and inside is clean. Remove the screen. What you're looking for here is any large holes or rips or anything in this wire mesh. This needs cleaning. This can be cleaned with a diesel wash, or can be cleaned with water, not high water pressure. So you can remove this, wash this out on site with your water blaster without the wand, and that will just wash this through. Shake it dry and then wipe clean before putting it back in. Again, ensuring there's no tears or holes in the screen. If there is, it needs replacing. Clean out your filter housing here, inspecting the rear gasket here for any impurities, tears or debris. Make sure this is clean. When you're satisfied that everything is clean, then put everything back in. Ensuring that everything seats on the gasket correctly. Do your nut up snugly. Replace the front of your air cleaner. When replacing the wing nuts, it's always good to make sure they have a small bit of lubrication on the threads, something like a Never Seize or a rescue steel. Centralize your filter housing, and then these are just hand tight. And then remember to put your four-way valve back into the neutral position. Close your drain cock, and that is your maintenance complete.